Thank you, Elder Coles, for that introduction. And Sister Coles, thank you both for all that you do. We appreciate your service. And we're looking forward to spending this time with you and all of our viewers.
So it's interesting what would bring us together. Number one, I think you would be interested in family history, or you might not be viewing this. And thank you all for all that you've done with family history. We just appreciate so much. What a great blessing you've been in our lives and so many others. You might also be really interested in family and love them. And since that's true, we're really excited to be together because so are we. So with that much said, can you imagine something that would bring together family history and our family in a more powerful, beautiful way? It seems to be that what we've seen from research is that there are huge blessings. In fact, we're going to talk about some of that research later, huge blessings that come into the lives, especially of youth, young adults, and others, as they get involved in family history in a meaningful way. And we know also that it's good for them to know about the stories, but research also says if they hear something, they remember part of it, but if they experience something, they remember so much more. It just so happens that family history activities give our families and ourselves a chance to experience family history, to live it, to love it, and internalize it. And today we want to share the reasons why we feel like activities can make a huge difference for those we love.
So you can kind of tell that we're a little over the top with family history activities.
In fact, I'm married to a family history enthusiast.
Yep, that's me. So we had an experience the other day when our granddaughter came running through the front door. She came up to me and she said, Grandma, what fun family history activity are we going to do today? I thought, okay, this is what we're aiming for sure. So today we hope to help you, wherever you are in your life and whatever stage you are and whatever age you are, to accept a challenge to be able to add more family history activities to your life in an easy, fun way. And we are very excited to share some things that we think can be of benefit. So
I can tell you that as far as stages and phases, we've been through all of them, right? We are great grandparents now, and grandparents and parents, and we've been through all the younger stages and the older stages and every stage, and we take care daily of our wonderful mother, my mother-in-law, my wife's mother, who is 90, and so we're seeing life through her stage too. So perhaps you're a parent or a grandparent, even a great parent like we are, and you would maybe like to have your posterity know something about you and your life and the lives of those you've grown up with or before, ones that have strengthened you in this crazy world, even living relatives.
And perhaps you are a youth or a young adult who would like to make family history discoveries and find out more about who you are.
So we're excited to share with you a resource that will help you find out what you're looking for, no matter your age, circumstance, or stage in life. Simply 4 words. Here they are. The Family History Guide. Oh, you might just see it on the screen right now. The Family History Guide. By the way, it's totally free. You can find it just by typing in thefhguide.com.
That's right. So easy. And on the homepage, it explains what we're all about. Our mission is to greatly increase the number of people actively involved in family history worldwide, and to make everyone's family history journey easier, more efficient, and more enjoyable.
Did you know starting your own family history is free, mobile-friendly, and easier than ever? Anything you want to do with family history, we can help you right here. The Family History Guide is the hub for all things family history, allowing you to achieve any goal and anything you want to learn. It's that simple. Not only does this help you, but this helps you help others. So what would you like to do? To make your experience easier, more efficient, and enjoyable, you can customize your experience and quick start your journey by starting a project. Projects take you step by step to help you view your family tree and find your ancestors through the 4 main sites. For example, you can learn how to build a family tree in Ancestry just like you would in Familysearch. All projects in the Family History Guide are built on goals, choices, and steps to help you learn faster and easier. Trackers are here to help you update and trace your progress. Experience your family history through tons of fun activities that you can do anywhere and anytime. These are for all stages in family history and for all ages. With a world of research at your fingertips, explore many different countries. Goals here will help you search for names, archives, newspapers, census records, and much more. In the vault, additional information is provided as a secondary source, loaded with materials, including articles and videos about computer basics, navigation of Familysearch, preserving memories, and more. You can also follow our blog to be in the loop with what's happening at the Family History Guide. So, don't wait to begin your journey through the Family History Guide.
So you probably wonder, how did that all get started? Well, let's give you a glimpse. There were a couple of family historians. They were actually family history center coordinators, I think is what they were. And one of them, Bob Taylor, came and all the people were asking him the same question at time after time. And he finally decided, because he had a instructional design background, to go home and make a little website that would answer their questions so they could take it home and use it and find answers to what they were looking for. And then it became so popular and they expanded it, and that started in about 2015. Well, since then, many, many milestones have happened and many iterations, and it's now become a great partner with Familysearch in training. It's in 150 countries worldwide. We mentioned it's totally free. And besides that, Bob Ives and Bob Taylor and a great group of very dedicated people that give their time completely by volunteer have created a wonderful miracle. Guess what, too? We can make a little announcement. We were just put in as the personal training partner for the National Genealogical Society of the United States of America. We are thrilled with that because universities and libraries all over are now using the Family History Guide as a training partner. So lots of good, lots of power, and lots of activities.
Amen. So the activities section, when you go up here to the menu item and go to activities and home, you will see what we have available. And we invite you to explore all of these for families, individuals, youth, kids, homeschoolers. There's an index of all the activities that you can click on and just have fun exploring. We are excited to share some of the things that are on activities here on the Family History Guide site. And we also invite you to go to tools and contact us and share any other ideas that you might have that work for you and your family. There are hundreds of activities here, and it's kind of like your library, and they're all consolidated here right for you. So you can see that on, for example, the family activities, anytime activities.
We might just take a minute to look across the top. It happens to say anytime, plan ahead, making family history, documenting, social media, service. You can see across the top there are many different categories that go along with each subsection. Hundreds of activities here. We'll start with family.
That's right. And our very first activity we'd love to share with you is called the Family History Fun Basket.
I really like the Family History Fun Basket.
Give your grandma a hug and say I love you.
Because when I think of activities, I can put them in there, and when we're together as a family, we can all go to the Family Fun Basket, pull out the activity, we're making memories.
Mom, Dad, share a trait of an ancestor you would like to emulate, who and why.
We're having those bonding moments where we're learning about our ancestors, we're learning about each other. It makes it super simple to do a really fun family history activity.
And
And it's funny because we have these hilarious moments and it's probably not quiet the majority of the time, and there's wrestling on the couch and there's screaming in the background, but that's the joy of it. And we get to learn about our family while being a family, and it's amazing. What is your favorite food Grandma makes?
Blackberry jam.
Share your favorite family tradition.
If you could ask an ancestor a question, who would it be and what would you ask?
When I was in kindergarten.
So when we're together trying to do family history or family activities, we have to switch activities a lot, all the time, in order to keep them involved and engaged and not fighting with each other.
Yeah. Think of Oakley doing somersaults. Remember Bryce doing his forward rolls on the ottoman.
So fun and so easy. That is an activity that can be put together in almost no time. In fact, in the index for activities, we have marked with an asterisk all of the really easy, fun ones that you can do in a moment's notice.
I love that activity so much. In fact, we've done it so many times. Put anything you want in the basket, whatever kind of thing you want to really focus on and have a chance to draw it out. We've done it with
Groups,
little groups, large groups, family
conferences.
reunions.
Yeah,
It's lots and lots of fun.
it's lots of fun. It brings the spirit of family history in immediately.
And isn't it so fun that there are videos with so many of these activities to demonstrate and show examples of how to do it as well as what to do. So everybody knows how to do charades. This is another little one that we really love, doing charades, but doing family history charades is dynamic. In fact, think about this. In the midst of a family history charade, you can say pause and everybody stops. And then you walk up to somebody who's acting out one of the experiences in a personal family history story and say, wait, how do you think you'd feel if this really happened? One quick example. In our family, we have a great story about the run from the wolves. And it is quite a dynamic story. My great-grandfather was out with the wagons, and all of a sudden he decided he was going to go fishing because his mom liked fish. He went over and caught fish, and when he came back, the wagons had gone on. In the midst of going on, he thought, I can catch up with that. And he started to walk toward the wagons. As he did, he heard the wolves coming. Well, his pockets were full of fish and he was running as fast as he could. And he was running, but the wolves were catching him, and he grabbed the fish and threw it over his shoulder. And they all stopped to fight over the fish, and he ran like crazy again. And then they left the fish and started toward him again. And he grabbed another fish and threw it out of his pocket. And this story, this true story, his last fish he threw just as he was approaching the wagon, ran into the wagon train and was there safe. He cried and looked at his mom and said, I know you love fish so much. I'm sorry I didn't get you any fish. And she just hugged him and said, no, that's fine. All I want is for you to be safe. Well, they love to act that out. But when they're acting it out, if we say pause and all of a sudden stop when they're running and say, how would you really feel right now? What would it really be like? And to have them relate to a family history experience so they can feel like they're living it is amazing. Here's a quick example. Such a fun thing. There are many, many other activities here on here for families, some that we just love. Look at that look-alike one, all kinds of others. We'll get to those. You know, when we get done with family, we have a section here called individuals. And I just tell you, I've worked with young adults my whole career. I taught at the university level for 40 years, had a chance to work with people that are basically 18 to 30. In the midst of doing that, they have some very unique and remarkable needs and a lot of unique transitions in their life. And what would it be like if we could find something that would really make a difference for them? Because traditionally it's kind of been an older person thing that do family history when you get older. The importance of it for a younger generation is more important than ever, and activities are a really way to get them invested. In fact, there was just a recent study done at BYU. It came out in April in the Journal of Family History and Genealogy. And the study was done where they tried to find out what kind of difference it made in a young adult's life if they got involved in family history regularly. They had over 140 students that signed up for a family history class. In the midst of them doing the family history class during the semester, the consistent results at the end were that up to 8%, the people were better off as far as their self-esteem. And listen to this one. They were 20% better off in overcoming anxiety. Their anxiety had diminished by 20%, 1/5. That shocked the researchers because they said, we can understand if they're more connected, they feel better about themselves because of their ancestry, but all of a sudden have anxiety even go down more because they felt like they were not alone and were connected. And that's an amazing gift. So for young adults, this is a great thing. And to try to get them involved in an interesting way, we have under the social media tab here an activity that's just an example, but there are lots, as you can see, under every category. Let's view this one. They love social media, so this is good.
I'm originally from New Zealand and was born and raised there, and we moved. And I'm creating a Facebook page to stay connected with my family. You can share memories, share pictures. If there are events that you may have missed, you're able to keep up to date with that as well. I feel like it's a wonderful way to stay connected with my family even though we're apart. And it's a great family history activity.
So many of the discoveries that they made in that study of young adults are also relevant to youth and children. It's amazing on so many levels. And, you know, we have these opportunities to influence young people and help them know what is important about their heritage and to be influenced by those who went on before and to find ways to do actively fun activities, to be active in active family history activities all the time. And they're not hard to come up with at all, especially when you have the Family History Guide right in front of you. And stories are one of the main ways that children learn about their history. They love stories. We all love stories. In fact, on the Family History Guide, you can search for 10 ways to find and share family history stories. And there's a ton of ways to do that.
We love that one. And I'll tell you, most of you have probably heard about the Feller story. It came out of Emory University. Filer, thank you. The Filer story or research, because he said, knowing just 20 simple things about your ancestors, even just back to your grandparents, makes a huge difference in the lives of youth. In fact, let's look at some of the benefits that come from that. Or should we look at the questions? That would be fun.
Well, it's so interesting because what they did is this study, and they just found out what children needed to know to have the benefits, such as just a better self-esteem and resilience and a strong sense of an intergenerational self and a sense of place and belonging and security. All of these things, self-confidence, lower levels of behavioral issues, better prepared for future challenges, and a strong sense of control over their lives.
That's amazing. Wouldn't you want that for every child?
And they found out that it was just not only hearing the stories, but the act of hearing the stories, cuddling in with a grandparent or a parent and having them just talk to you, talking at dinner time. Just having that connection made so much difference in the lives of children.
And they seem so simple. Listen to the kind of things they were asked.
Yeah, these questions are pretty simple. How did your parents meet? Where did your mother and father grow up? Where were your parents married? What went on when you were born? How did you get your name? Talk about good or bad experiences that taught your parents life lessons. and awards your parents received when they were young, things like that. Where were your grandparents growing up in their early years? Just questions that seem kind of logical to us, but when children knew the answers to those, they did this research and found out that all of those promises, those results came to pass.
There's so many fun ways to do this. And we had a really interesting experience recently because we kind of turned it around and we gathered our grandchildren together and had them tell Grandma her stories back to her and talk about what they had learned from hearing her tell the stories to them. This is delightful. We're going to play a little clip, but it's just so enjoyable to hear what happened.
If you want a happier family, create, refine, and retell the story of your family's positive moments and your ability to bounce back from the difficult ones. That act alone may increase the odds that your family will thrive for many generations to come. Bruce Feiler, The Family Stories That Bind Us.
As a little girl, my mother always told stories to us about our ancestors. She made us feel proud of our ancestors, and she made us love the history, the stories, and the sacrifice that they went through to get us where we are in our lives. So I love to tell the stories to my grandchildren so that they will know and feel the sacrifice and the love of helping each other through the things that they are going through in life.
Because of Grandma Jan, my children and I have benefited so much from an intergenerational narrative. She keeps the stories alive. She's a living library, and she has just created this sanctuary of stories. She loves us. You walk into her home and you are inside of her arms. And she lifts and blesses constantly with these stories and brings meaning into the experiences we have by connecting them to all of the experiences of the past.
I absolutely loved growing up hearing Grandma Jan's stories. They're so entertaining, so much fun, and honestly it seems like every other sentence is about somebody and where they were born and who they're related to. It's so obvious how important family is to her, and that's really inspired me over the years.
When I became a mother, I related to one of those stories in particular. She became a new mom in the 50s. They lived in military subsidized housing, and the only bed that they had for their newborn son was a drawer in their dresser. And I related to that because I also can be a good mom by making sure that I'm simply just doing the best that I can with what I have. And because of Grandma Jan, I feel like my family is blessed to have more than she ever did.
One of the things I love about my Grandma Jan is her positivity. So she has struggled with diabetes and with neuropathy her whole life, and that's been something that's really hard. And she's had to have a couple toes removed. Incidentally, I have another grandpa, a different grandpa, Grandpa Wendell, who has also lost a couple of toes. And when Grandma found out about this, all she had to say about it was, "I outdone Wendell in the toe contest." And she continues to serve people even in her old age and with everything she's gone through.
My favorite story of Grandma Jan was when she stole her family's car, took her friends from school, and went joyriding around town. Her neighbor came out and said, "Jan, you put that car back right now." Didn't you also run it into a ravine?
Into a ditch.
Into a ditch.
So I backed back up to put the car back, and went across the street and hit the peddler, and they hooked the fenders together, the bumpers together. And the peddler got out and unhooked it, and I drove it back and parked it. All the kids, but the kids were hanging out of the windows, they were hanging out of the trunk, they were hanging everywhere.
How old were you when all this happened?
12.
And I think it's just so funny.
sharing a common bond of the things that I did when I was young helped the children to know that we are all human.
And if you want to see any more of that, it's on Rootstick. And it's just a delightful interview where they start teaching her the lessons they've learned from her stories. And it's just a joy for sure.
So, family history activities, where do you find them? What do you do? We have so many on the Family History Guide, but we made a consolidated list for you that is 5-minute activities.
Because sometimes when we're getting ready to do activities and all these things we talked about, they say, like, oh, how am I ever going to do that? How am I going to ever fit it all in? There's just so much to it. But you don't really need to have to worry about that. You can actually get many of the benefits from 5 minutes of family history. And so over 100 activities on this beautiful handout, 50 categories of things you can do in about 5 minutes. So we want to go through some of those and show you some examples. And this again is on the Family History Guide. You just look up the 5-minute activities and here they are. Number one is one we all take for granted, basically. Open Familysearch and create your own account and see if you can get 4 generations. Now, we have a friend that wanted to be leading out in family history and wanted to help everyone and thought he could just do so much. But he walked up to me one day and said, I got a problem. I don't have any names on my family history chart. On one side, it's completely empty. I said, look, friend, come here. We called his sister and said, do you happen to know your parents' death dates? And she did. Do you happen to know, in fact, one of them was living. Do you happen to know your grandparents' birth dates or death dates? She did. By the time we got back to dead people, his whole tree populated back 9 generations because it's a wonderful tree that populates automatically when you get to the dead people so often. And he stood up and said, I can be a leader in family history because I go back 9 generations in my own research. And he was just proud and happy about it. The Familysearch wonderful fan chart has so many beautiful tools on it that can help do lots and lots of wonderful things. So we start there because if you get 4 generations, all the rest of the things on this chart and all the activities can kind of happen from there, right?
Yes, and the easiest way to find this list that we're showing you right now is to go to Activities, Family, Activities homepage. And it's right there. You can just click it and you can go through these and see what fits your family. Play the human knot game. There's a little video about how to do that. Interview and record family members. And yeah, we've got the information from the Stories That Bind Us that we just talked about and how to use the Memories app. All these are just linked right here for you.
I just want to say a word about this number 8 that you can see on the screen. Wow. Family stories are so important and recording them. And my darling little wife is perfect at this. She has that beautiful Memories app on her phone and just clicks it whenever she's talking to the kids or talking to Grandma Jan or doing any of those things. And wow, we have hundreds of little clips of funny stories that are about them. But to add something, my dad sometimes didn't really like children too much. He was raised kind of as an only child, and then he had all these kids. And somehow he would get around my rowdy bunch, and he could stand it for about 5 minutes and then would slip out the door. So one night, we gave all the kids a little 3x5 card with some question they could ask Grandpa. He came in, and we kind of seated him in the corner, and then they surrounded him on the floor and sat down so he couldn't escape. At that point, they started to ask him questions, like his pink Jeep when he was in Guam in World War II, and lots of details about his life. He was so shocked that they knew those things or wanted to know more about those things. And my dad sat there for an hour and a half, sharing his life with my family. I had never seen him do that. This sharing of stories is so powerful. Just one other quick one. I went to see my stepdad, and he had never shared his World War II stories. He freed a concentration camp. He went through incredible experiences and never talked about it. I just went up with a little recording device and turned it on, and we started to talk. 2 hours later, we have a treasured recording of his experiences. Family stories are amazing, and then you can use those in so many ways. You'll see so many ideas on here. I mean, we illustrate family stories. We give them a little story and have the grandkids draw pictures of it and illustrate it. And that's a very active thing. And then they read it for bedtime stories or use it as coloring books. And My mother-in-law has been really, really good at that.
Let's look at this one.
Might as well dress up like it, right?
Part of what we love about doing activities with the kids is that, again, for both of us, we fell in love at a young age for our family to appreciate them. A hero of mine is actually my grandpa, and someone I've loved learning a lot more about. And I actually grew up with him in my life, but I've learned a lot more about him recently.
Yeah, right after he passed away, we got an essay that he wrote. So as we were reading it, we were thinking about ways that our kids could relate to him and try to feel connected to him.
Part of his essay reads, "As a young boy growing up on a farm, I was able to spend many hours watching birds in flight, and though the flight of many species intrigued me, it was the flight of the seagulls that instilled in me the desire to be able to fly."
He described the seagulls as inspiring his desire to fly, and so he went on to join the Air Force and to be a pilot, and it paved the rest of his life to serve this passion while also serving his country and then his family.
Of doing all of that was that at the very end, Chandler said Grandpa was really brave when he made the decision to fly, and it was scary to him, but what are things that make you brave, and what are things that are scary and you can just be brave and do them?
The activity was just a lot of fun for the kids. They loved learning more about him and living it, and it really created a deeper connection with their grandpa.
Love that and all that they learned. And that isn't a hard thing to do at all. In fact, it is so fun to have some things up your sleeve that you can do anytime. And half of it is just thinking of them. So make a list. Maybe make a list of things that you can use for time fillers that just you can do without any preparation, but you might not think of them without a little list, maybe on your phone or in your car somewhere, such as I'm thinking of an ancestor who, or 20 questions to discover who you're thinking of. Yes, no questions.
Or an ancestor to dinner. Set an extra plate and say, try to guess who this is that's coming as you give out clues, or you could hide a clue under every plate. And they say, hey, pick up their plates and look, they can find out some detail about somebody that's visiting them for dinner.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, that is on the Family History Guide also, just some ideas there. You can also recreate an ancestor photo, and we've got some pictures and ideas for that on there. We're just full of ideas,
and
right?
I love the one about plan a family history reunion. You'll notice though that these are all linked. So you just click on any of these sites on the Family History Guide. It'll take you right to that activity and pull up either the video or the details about it so you can see it automatically. Great. Are you just thrilled so far?
We're making life easier for you, right?
We want it to be easy. So number 10. Oh, this is one of our very, very, very favorite because there are so many fun games and activities that make it really interactive and fun. This is the BYU Family History Tech Lab. And you can see all these different kinds of activities that are here. We're going to highlight just a couple of them. For example, some of you have played or watched Jeopardy. This is called Jeopardy. So when you've got those 4 generations down, you just link into Familysearch and a Jeopardy game will populate with your own family history details. Now, this is really delightfully fun because two of our grandkids were over one day and they just wanted to be able to master the chart. And they were coming to us, they'd click on it and say, okay, who might have been born in 1923 and had this little, and they'd come asking us details. Instead of us trying to tell them something about it, they were seeking out more details about the family and playing a fun game in the process to see who could win. There's another game on here that we'll also just show you briefly called Wheel of Fortune. This is what the Family History Technology Tech Lab looks like. And Wheel of Family Fortune looks like this. It is the real thing, and you click on it, decide how many players, and that spinning wheel even spins,
Yeah, that'd be fun.
which is so much fun. Go back. And you can see lots and lots and lots of games, lots of fun, interactive things, great for family reunions. The fun thing is what we try to do is get to all these great places that have done things and pull them all together in one spot for you so that you can have just a wonderful handout that relates to all of them and links you right to all the resources that are available. And I'm so grateful to have it in our own lives.
Yes, and most of you are probably really familiar with the family search activities, and we've just listed some here and linked them up. Let's see if this will work. Family, let's see. Yeah, okay, compare a face.
This is hilarious.
Kids love this when our grandchildren will go to compare a face. They'll take pictures of themselves, and we have tons of those on our memories on Family Search. And then, they're pretty happy about who they look like until they look like their great-great-grandfather who has a beard. And then they're like,
and they're a girl.
Yeah, they're a girl. We don't really like that. All About Me. Let's see if that one comes up. This is so fun.
Now, this one is very versatile because guess what? You can change the date at the top of this to any date you want. So you can sit with your grandchildren or others and say, okay, let's put down when I was your age. Instead of your birth date, you can see what it says, view a different year. You can change to a time when you were their age. And then they can compare exactly, okay, what was it like when grandpa or grandma was 12? Now, this is my wife's, and she was just confessing her age right there.
Yeah.
And a gallon of gas was only 27 cents, and the grandkids think that is absolutely hilarious.
Very funny.
And the movie ticket was like 25 cents or 35 cents. And how many temples? They just get shocked at this because there were, you can guess, there were 8. Yeah, 8 temples since she was born, and then they have a celebration if you get the answers right. Lots of fun questions, and you can play this with their friends. You can play it with lots of others. You can play it with some of their leaders so that they get to know them better. It is delightful.
It is so fun, and no prep at all. Just having 4 generations in your Family Search fan chart.
And you can see we've only highlighted a couple of those. There are so many wonderful detailed activities here. Relatives around me, you kind of know about that, but let's touch on it in a minute. In fact, there's actually a way on Family Search where if someone doesn't even have a Family Search account at all, and you just walk up to them and say, let's just see if we're related, you can click a button and there you go. And you put in just their name and maybe the death date of an ancestor, and suddenly it'll show you how you're related to them. This is a great opportunity to connect
play
other
around
people.
with that, make those discoveries on how to find out that information. It is so fun. So fun to find out that we're all related.
Yes, we are.
Pretty much. Uploading memories. Let's see.
This number 18, Digital Museum, just briefly. That is so fun because you just gather together and say, okay, go get something to do with family history or something important in your life. And they will grab an object, and then you put together a family history museum, a digital museum, and you take pictures of it and show things that really mattered. Our kids have done that and really, really enjoyed it.
Had such incredible experiences. Your personal history. We've talked about the Family History Fun Basket. All of these have videos, and you can find these videos also in the Family History Guide YouTube channel. And so you can see how things are being done for other families, and maybe it will give you some fun family ideas that you can try.
It's number 33 and 34, great family history ones. Family reunion ones. Dress up like an ancestor. That was really fun to try to have pictures that match. Or evolution of dance, you can see in 34. We actually had a station where they could go to any era and pick an ancestor and learn the dances from that time of their lives.
That's right. Family reunions. We have taken this 5-minute family history idea to our reunions. And one year, actually a couple of years, we have created a huge chart with all of these little circles to fill in. And then we just made lists and lists of all the family history fun ideas that we wanted them to experience. And then we let the family write in their own ideas too. And every time they did a 5-minute family history activity, they got to check it off And then there was a big reward at the end. And that worked so well. That went on for like 2 or 3 days.
So many of them were doing things with their cousins. It would just say, do this with a cousin, do this. And they'd grab somebody and say, let's do this fun activity. It was amazing.
Yep. So anyway, just look through this list.
Let's go to 43.
Yeah,
I just have to talk about this one. BYU Record Linking Lab is remarkable, especially if you want to do service of any kind. This is your opportunity because they have simplified, using AI technology and computer technology, they have simplified the whole process of helping and assisting in family history research worldwide. You can click on any of these. It'll show you how to reverse index. It'll teach you all kinds of details. The fun one about 5-a-day project, can you see that right there? The 5-a-day project gives you hints, and you can do each of these hints and linking up records, because it'll pull up a record for you off of Goldie May, and it'll show you, okay, how do I link these together? Do they match or do they not? And you look at them and say, yes, they do, and then you push link. You can do 5 of them in 5 minutes or less, and you're helping. But the beautiful part about this, just for interest's sake, so many times when you're linking records together, you'll find out that a child was lost, or 2 children were not included, or because it was a census record and the child is missing, suddenly you're linking together and finding missing children, which are so important. So look at the Family History Record Linking Lab, and you'll see all these different kinds of activities. Let's just show you a glimpse of what it looks like. So you just enter the name, address, confirm your email address, and that'll give you hints from then on. Every day it sends you a hint. It also has a beautiful little thought, and the thought will teach you something important about family history for that day. And then you get a chance to have those hints sent to you daily. And even if you can't do it that day, it doesn't matter. It works.
So many fun ideas on here. And like we said before, we'd love to hear yours. We have a resource list also of links that you can just go to find more activities or to find information about how you can incorporate family histories into your daily life, your weekly life, your yearly, whatever stage or age you're in right now in your life. There are many ways to get the benefits for you and those you love of family history activities. Okay, so we can just kind of look at those. I also would just like to discuss methods for a moment. What is your toolbox? You know, we have talked about all of these resources, many of these resources on this list, to give you a toolbox to start with. So methods. Maybe there is a way to just make family history be in the air of your home. Maybe through all of these ideas and looking at the resources, you can find out the best way to make it just ring, like be everywhere in your home, so that all the time you are learning something about your heritage and making connections and learning about being closer to those that are living. Also, you could, and the link is right here, to a 21-day family connections experiment in which our friend Olivia Jewell came up with a whole website on how to do a few minutes of family history every day. And the whole idea that she came up with to begin with was to see what kind of benefits would result from 3 weeks of doing family history. And then she charted it all, and she has the results on there. And they chose 21 days. Why? Because that's what research shows makes a habit, right? We don't know if that's true or not, but doing it 3 weeks in a row is pretty crazy. Sure, true. Pretty fun. And all the benefits, such as elevating your mood and helping you, like we said, be closer to those you love and to find out ways to discover your heritage and who you are. So that is a really fun idea. Yes?
So there's a couple of questions that you
Okay.
might be able to answer. Can you send the link to your Google Docs list of links? I believe the answer to that is that you could just find it under the Family History Guide, correct?
All the Family History Guide, it's right there. You just look up 5-minute activities and the links are all there.
Actually, the best way to do it is to go to Activities homepage, and there you'll find the link to this document we're looking at right now, and it has all of these resources linked for you. Does that answer the question?
Yes, so you basically just go to the FH
Activities, homepage. So activities, menu item, home,
Family History Guide.
home, and then it's right there in the first paragraph.
Okay. I think that answers the question. Thank you. It asked, do you have a handout to all these sites? But I think the answer again is the Family History Guide is the
That's what's so fun. It's all right there. You just open up the site and everything we've showed you is right there at the click of a button. I mean, it's so simple. Don't have to get any other handouts or documents.
That's right. It's there for you. So just to continue the methods, so we've talked about a couple. Make use of transitions, comings and goings, traveling, routines, bedtimes, mealtimes, holidays. Sometimes I think we just need a reminder to help us remember that we can turn almost anything into a family history experience, even if it's just something tiny that we do.
Let me add a thought to this. This is called the add-on principle. And the idea behind it is this. If there's something you're doing consistently, then you just add on a little family history to it, and suddenly you become consistent at that. Add-on principle is really powerful because if you're really consistent about dinner time, just add on a little family history moment to dinner time, and guess what? You'll find yourself doing it consistently, and the blessings of. So that we love that add-on principle to something you're already doing, and it gives you a chance to have it be in the air.
That's right. So do some exploring. We hope this has been helpful today. We have one more video and a little wrap up to do, but we feel like there is so much, and we've just kind of, let's see, what do you say? The tip of the iceberg?
The surface.
The surface. But hopefully, and please ask us any other questions that you have. We are excited to share any of this with you, and we hope that this can be a wonderful resource for you.
Let's tell you a little bit about this final video. So we thought this is so much fun that we get our grandkids together to have a group activity and say, what if we took a lot of the resources that we've talked about and tried to use them at one time in some way and see what we could really learn about someone. Often we know a story about an ancestor or some detail about their life, but we don't really have them completely, the beautiful character of their lives demonstrated. So we got little hints and got them all ready, and we're going to get them together and play something called Discovery Detective. And they were all going to get a clue, and each one would look up some different clue and then have a big timeline. Well, we have a video to show you part of that. But about 3 days before we were going to do this, we had Grandpa Orson selected. We'd picked out details about his life. We were all ready. And my wife just came to me and said, I just think we had to do my dad instead. So we put away all the stuff we'd collected. We got out all this new stuff and put in the work to try to do her father and got it ready. And this is the little video that we have. It's fun because when they got together, we dressed them up. Even they wore cute little trench coats. And okay, here we go.
So we'll just show you the process of finding these videos. If you go to the playlists and go down to activities, videos, and you can't quite get that.
Welcome to Discovery Detective Night. The family we're going to explore is Grandpa Rule and Grandma Jan Clark.
My mom and dad.
And as our grandchildren, we want you to be able to see what they saw, touch what they touched, read and hear, and taste what they tasted.
Our hope for you is to learn what they learned and feel what they felt.
And the place we always start is the fan chart. New wonderful features including stories and countries have been added to this fan chart, and each of you has an assignment to discover something about them.
Isaac, Derek,
Eli.
Something that's special to me about my Grandma Jan is all the fun foods she makes and the recipes she has. I was able to go on Familysearch and see fun pictures and stories of when we made them,
Another fun way to express my love for family history is to share about stories I've been through or experiences I've had on social media for my friends to see as well.
I discovered something really awesome about my great-grandma. When and where she was born, and that she was married at 17 to her next-door neighbor. That really means a lot to me because that's about my age right now. And that would really take a lot of courage. They've been married for 68 years, and that is really amazing to me.
In trying to understand my Grandpa Rule better, I looked up some information about his father, my great-great-grandfather, Orson Clark. Through the Familysearch Discovery website, I learned he served a mission to Hawaii, and I found a picture of him directing a mandolin band while he was there, which was super cool for me.
Some people in our family have not discovered how delicious bowls are. It's just a peanut butter and honey sandwich broken up into a bowl with milk poured over it. My Grandpa Rule grew up in the Depression and they were very poor. And since then it has become a fun family tradition and I really love them.
Being able to talk to my great-grandma through this app and being able to record her stories and read her journals has been an incredible experience for me. It's helped me discover and learn about my past and more about her and about the person I can become because of her example.
These tools are incredible and they help us learn things that I probably wouldn't have known beforehand. I just had the opportunity to interview with Grandpa Rule and about his military service. It was incredible to learn a lot of things that I hadn't previously known and go deeper into these stories. I'm super excited to continue with this and to learn more stories from a lot of different ancestors.
So we finished that wonderful little activity. As we got finished, in fact, we were almost finished. We got a call that said, come quick. And we were rushed to the hospital. And though my father-in-law was very healthy a couple of days before, we hurried to the hospital. And during the end of this activity, my father-in-law passed away. And I'll never forget calling home to our grandchildren who had just studied his life for an hour and a half and had been filling in a timeline with details about all the things he had done and giving him the news that he had just passed. They talk a lot about that night when they sat around the table together around that timeline and talked about his life and the lessons they had learned. And then Derek got up and wrote at the end of the timeline, Grandpa Rule passes away January 11th. Somehow, the idea of really having them internalize people's lives, the activities we can do to make it real, to make them come alive so that they can feel what they felt, see what they saw, taste what they tasted. And in the midst of doing that, internalize the magnificent lessons from their life is really what activities is all about. And we have worked a lot to try to provide opportunities for this to be a blessing to you. And we're so thankful that we could even have a chance to talk about it today.
Thank you for being with us.